On the news, federal government apologizes for naira scarcity. Former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele accused of embezzling billions and other financial offenses. And Supreme Court opposed Peter Mba's election as Enugu State Governor. Welcome to TV 360 Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkolie and I'm delighted to have you with us. The federal government has apologized to Nigerians for the current scarcity of the naira, clarifying that it is not an intentional effort to limit people's access to cash. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris made this announcement while discussing the achievement of President Bola Tinubu's administration in Abuja. Idris assured the public that the Central Bank of Nigeria is actively working to produce new notes as it addresses the shortage of naira in circulation. He emphasized that the current situation is not a deliberate policy to make life difficult for Nigerians, while he remains optimistic that the Tinubu's administration will ensure a better year for Nigerians in 2024. In a significant development, the special investigator probing the Central Bank of Nigeria, Jim Obazie, has revealed findings that implicate former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele and others in embezzlement of billions of naira and various financial offenses. According to reports, the investigation spanning over 4 months resulted in a report submitted to President Bola Tinubu on December 9, 2023. Among the findings, Emefiele, who served as CBN Governor from June 2014 to June 2023, is accused of engaging in fraudulent cash withdrawals of $6.23 million and perpetrating frauds in the redesign of the naira. Emefiele is also alleged to have kept £543.4 million in the United Kingdom. Other charges include manipulation of the exchange rate, fraudulent use of ways and means totaling 26.6 trillion naira, launching fraudulent intervention programs, making fraudulent expenditures on COVID-19, and manipulating presidential approval, among other financial irregularities. The report recommends that Emefiele and others, including his deputy governor, face prosecution for these financial offenses. To speak further on the charges against Emefiele, earlier on I spoke with investment accountant Feyi Fawemi. I began by asking him his thought on the damaging allegations against the former CBN governor.
So I think one of the biggest lessons we learned from Emefiele is that by coincidence, Nigeria hardly ever gave central bank governors 2 terms. Now, this is one of those things where when you don't appreciate it while it's there, that in the sense that Soludo came 1 term, Sanusi came 1 term, the first Sanusi and then the second Sanusi 1 term, like that. It has been going on like that. We take it for granted. With Emefiele, we then saw the danger of allowing somebody to do 2 terms, because when you look at Emefiele, the bulk of the damage he did, and he did a lot of damage to the Nigerian economy, was in the second term, and it is a job with so much power. The boundaries are not very clear. The governor seems to be able to do so many things that you wonder, but even when you think that this can't be right, like when the governor is doing all these interventions and all that, you kind of think about that, this can't be right, but nobody seems to know how to stop him or how to stop. So I think with Emefiele, the key thing is that we've seen the damage of the amount of power that office has and the damage that can be done when somebody is in that office for a very long time.
All right, Feyi, so now how can we ensure that the CBN does
Okay.
not step out of his mandate in the future?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is that unfortunately, the current government, they've wasted an opportunity by giving the job to somebody like Obaze, who is, like I said, he's not a serious person, he's just a sensationalist. Will make noise, call big figures and all that. What we need is to send a thorough professional into CBN to do a proper investigation and to come up with recommendations to prevent these things happening again. This is the key. And no matter how good you are, the Bank of England For example, this year they hired Ben Bernanke, who is the former U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman, to come and do a review for them. And what he's going in there to do is saying, okay, what is going on in the Bank of England? Okay, they are doing these things well. Continue and improve them. But these kind of things are not doing so well. We need to change them. We need to improve them. And because he's a credible person, and also he has run the U.S. Federal Reserve, and he's an outsider, he can look at things and write a proper report and give it to the government, and then they begin to implement them. So we know, for example, that CBN has completely deviated from a lot of what he should be doing, managing inflation, or regulating banks in a proper and clear manner, not being a political tool, being independent, not being in the news all the time, not doing intervention for all those kind of things. So we need to unfortunately, this Obaze's investigation has just been a waste of time as far as I'm concerned. Get somebody with credibility, go in there, look at the structure, say, okay, what are the powers of the CBN? What are the powers of the CBN governor? And which one of them are the ones that are most prone to abuse? How can we then prevent this abuse from happening? What do we need to change in the CBN Act to make CBN function better? How can we give them support to make sure that they face their real work of targeting the inflation and, creating monetary stability? Those are the kind of things we need.
That was Feyi Fawehinmi giving us a take on the embezzlement allegations against former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. Moving on, the Senate on Thursday adjourned plenary to December 29 to allow members celebrate Christmas with family and constituents. When they return, the lawmakers will continue work on the 2024 appropriation bill, which they promised to pass before the end of the year. Some of the resolutions of the upper house on Thursday are captured in this next report.
11 Supreme Court justices appointed by President Bola Tinubu to fill the vacancies on the Apex Court bench were confirmed during plenary. This confirmation was sequel to the consideration of a report by the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters.
That there is no petition against the appointments of the nominees. That the nominees possess the requisite leadership qualities required of judicial officers to exercise restraint and uphold the dignity of the court and the litigants in the discharge of their official functions.
Speaking on the committee report before the confirmation, some lawmakers expressed concern over the delay in the appointment of justices for the Supreme Court bench, while commending President Tinubu for reflecting federal character in the appointments.
There is no zone in Nigeria who will say they don't have somebody who is credible at the Apex Court. Every zone had minimum of 3 justices at the Supreme Court now. Only 3 have 1 additional. So we have federal character firmly observed in these nominations.
When you have relations in this court, you will find out that they are not even coping up with life. So how can they give good justice in the open court of law? It's going to be really difficult.
Meanwhile, the immediate past Senate President Ahmed Lawan called on the National Assembly and the presidency to improve the funding of the judiciary.
For both the legislature and the executive arms to give the judiciary a worthwhile financial attention. We should give them more resources because they can do better.
After hours of queries and commendations, the Senate approved the recommendation of the committee.
Let me congratulate all the nominees hereby confirmed by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as justices of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, and pray that God will give them the wisdom, the enablement, the strength of character, and the will to carry out justice in our dear country. And I must also commend Mr. President for the appointment across states, irrespective of political leanings.
Appointment of Supreme Court justices were recommended by the National Judiciary Council, NJC, to fulfill vacant positions that arose as a result of the death and resignation of some justices of the Apex Court. In similar developments, the upper chamber confirmed the appointment of Olayinka Oladunjoye as the Federal Commissioner representing Lagos State and the National Population Commission, NPC.
Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mrs. Oladunjoye Sadat Olayinka for appointment as Commissioner representing Lagos State in the National Population Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Senate will convene after Christmas for the task of passing the 2024 appropriation bill.
In Benue State, there's a brewing crisis within the Benue State chapter of the All Progressive Congress APC as members of the National Assembly caucus elected at the APC platform are calling for intervention. They express concerns about what they perceive as dictatorial conduct and poor leadership of Governor Hyacinthe Alia. The caucus, composed of prominent APC figures, is urging President Tinubu to intervene and address the alleged misconduct by Governor Alia. Their discontent stems from a 6-month period marked by what they describe as arrogant and egocentric conduct by the governor.
In appointing his commissioners, His Excellency Governor Alia again excised a sole description without recourse to the normal tradition of requesting for nominations from local governments and disregarded the zoning arrangements and permutations and went ahead to make his independent choices as he deemed fit. Again, the party did not oppose him, but rather accepted to play along with him in the following hope that Governor Alia will change.
There is no borehole dug by this present administration. I'm talking of borehole. No borehole. No culvert. If there is any culvert that is being done by this local government administration, in Gwe local government, I will take my resignation from the National Assembly. There is virtually nothing.
We represent our people. We speak to them. We know their challenges. The only way the governor will know what is happening, first, for instance, in my council ward, is when he speaks to me. Because I speak to my people directly. I provide for them. That is why I was able to convince them to vote for him. He doesn't know anybody from my local government. And earlier won my local government in Guma, when we had a sitting governor from my local government.
The Supreme Court has upheld the election of Peter Mbah as the governor of Enugu State. The unanimous ruling by 5-member panel of justices dismissed an appeal brought forth by the Labour Party and its candidate, Chijioke Edoga, challenging the outcome of the governorship election held on March 18, 2023. This affirmation follows the earlier decisions by both the Election Petition Tribunal and the Appeal Court, which had upheld the victory of Peter Mbah as declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The primary contention revolved around the alleged non-qualification of Peter Mbah, who is accused of forging his National Youth Service Corps NYSC discharge certificate. The tribunal, however, clarified that the NYSC certificate is not a requisite qualification for gubernatorial candidate, emphasizing that Section 177 of the 1999 Constitution specifies a school certificate as the academic qualification for such candidates. The unemployment rate among youth aged 15 to 24 years increased to 7.2% in the second quarter of 2023, the National Bureau of Statistics has said. In a report titled Nigeria's Labor Force Statistics Report Quarter 2 2023, which was released on Thursday, the youth unemployment rate moved from 6.9% in first quarter of 2023. The report also showed that Nigeria's unemployment rate increased to 4.2% from 4.1% recorded in the first quarter, indicating an increase of 0.1%. Our correspondent Ogechukwu Ukekwe completes the story.
In the report, NBS says it used enhanced methodology by collecting labor market data through Nigerian Labor Force Survey in line with International Labour Organization guidelines. Focusing on young people, the unemployment rate for the 15 to 24 years old was 7.2% in second quarter of 2023, which shows a marginal increase from 4.1% recorded in first quarter. The unemployment rate by sex for men was 3.5% and among women was 5.9% in second quarter of 2023. While urban areas experienced 5.9% of youth unemployment, in rural area it is 2.5%. Meanwhile, a not-for-profit organization, the Resource Center for Human Rights and Civic Education, has urged the Nigerian government to declare a state of emergency on unemployment. For a society that it is labor fixated on experience, a 7.2% unemployment rate for an age group that should be amassing work experience lives, much to be desired. Ogechukwu Okekwe, TV360, Lagos.
News Now will return shortly, but still to come, Czech student shoot father commits mass shooting at Prague University. Details of the story right after this break. Welcome back. Let's quickly catch up on our headline stories. The federal government has issued an apology to Nigerians for the ongoing naira scarcity, saying it is not a deliberate attempt to restrict access to cash. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris, during a media parley on President Bola Tinubu's administration's achievement in Abuja, that the Central Bank of Nigeria is actively working to address the shortage by producing new notes. We also told you that the special investigator probing the Central Bank of Nigeria has revealed findings that implicate former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele and others in embezzlement of billions of naira and various financial offences. Emefiele is alleged to have kept £543.4 million in the United Kingdom. Other charges include manipulation of exchange rate, fraudulent use of ways and means totaling 26.6 trillion naira, launching fraudulent intervention programs, making fraudulent expenditures on COVID-19, and manipulating presidential approval, among other financial irregularities. Now, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Lime's World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. It's now time for business news. Opeyemi Owosheni has the latest. Over to you, Opeyemi.
Thank you, Tamilore. Hello and welcome to Business News. In a bid to spread holiday joy and make Christmas festivities memorable for Nigerians, the federal government announced a 50% cut in transportation fares for ordinary Nigerians traveling between December 21st and January 4th, 2024. This move, according to the federal government, is to ease the financial burden on travelers during the festive season and encourage more people to celebrate with their loved ones. TV360 correspondent Folashade Olusegun went through the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to monitor the impact of the government pronouncement on the travelers.
As Christmas approaches, Nigerians tend to travel more at this time of the year for festivity and reunion with family members, so the federal government's gesture couldn't have come at a better time than this when the economy bites hard. Some of the commuters we spoke to seems not to buy the idea of 50% cut in transportation, as they bitterly complain about the difficulties they faced while preparing to travel for Christmas. Others claim they were not aware of the transportation cuts.
My own is that, most times in Nigeria, our psyche and our mentality this time around has been so messed that there's nothing that the government says that we won't listen to. You just have to move on. You have to move on because what they tell you in the morning is don't expect it in the next few seconds.
50% discount. Is the government here? The government are not here. If you approve 50% discount, that is just a paperwork. It's a statement. And why I say it's a statement is that the government doesn't have any vehicle here. When you look around here, where is the urban mass? Where is the federal urban mass? And the government, each state is supposed to provide at least not less than 10 to 15 buses to their citizens. Each state, a governor of a state is supposed to provide 10 to 15 buses to each state, to a citizen, so that people from their home can travel home.
No, I wasn't expecting this amount. It's actually on the high side. So like the president announced that there will be 50% reduction in price transportation. But on coming here, I saw a different thing. I'm going from Abuja to Lagos, and I paid 35,000 naira, which is on the high side. I wasn't expecting this.
The federal government, in a statement released on Christmas transportation subsidy, had named transportation companies that will be offering the 50% fare cut, which are God is Good, Chisco Transport, Yongsha Grow, God Bless Ezenwanta, and Area Monto. We were at a few of these transport companies to monitor the implementation of this government offer, but we were denied access. All efforts to speak with the management of these companies proved abortive. Transportation companies that were not listed also expressed their grievances, as some say the government could do more.
Let the reduction of the fuel, will be much more profiting. 50% is just for a few seconds. The reduction of the fuel will benefit every millions of Nigerians who may be traveling for the Yule time. So it's very much unfortunate.
You can see the situation. The price of the fuel have really mounted on the streets. People on the streets, the less privileged, not for the rich. The rich are there, they can buy it any amount. But the truth remains, you can't be traveling and you'll be paying 45,000 naira, 50,000 naira. What do you want to spend at your village?
Price of fuel should be reduced. That's my take. The price of fuel should be reduced so that it can be affordable.
28 routes in the north, southeast, and southwest, which travels will be plying this season, are covered in the 50% reduction in transportation fare. Be safety conscious this season.
We'll go on a short break and be back with stock market reports. The local bus headed south on the last day of trading, closing at 0.36%. No thanks to investors who sold mostly shares of consolidated Allmark Holdings, which led to the League of Losers that caused the market southward close. Now, in the aggregate, 122 listed equities participated in trading, giving the market birth a positive gain with 13 gainers against 20 losers. So, consolidated Allmark Holdings came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 8.73%, exchanging at £1.15, followed closely by international breweries, which changed at £4.40. Now, at the end of the last weekday of trading on the Nigerian Stock Exchange market, a total of 423 million of shares were exchanged in 6,333 deals, corresponding to a market value of over 16 billion were traded. Now, over to our Select Global Stock Market. It was a different case for our Select Global Stock, the UK FTSE, the US Dow Jones, and Nikkei and Japan's Nikkei, as they all ended in a bullish trade at 0.03%, 0.10%, and 0.086% respectively. And that's it on Business and Stock Market Report. Over to you, Tamilore, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Opayami. Now, on the foreign scene, in a tragic and unprecedented incident, a 24-year-old Czech student reportedly shot and killed his father before committing an horrifying act of violence at his Prague university. The incident, which happened on Thursday, resulted in the loss of 14 lives and leaving 25 others wounded, marking the country's worst ever mass shooting. The Czech government swiftly responded by declaring a national day of mourning on December 23 to honor the victims. The motives behind the attack remains unknown, as preliminary information suggests that the police are exploring a possible connection between the gunman and two deaths in the forest near Prague last week. And up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Mami Water, Nigeria's official submission for the 2024 Academy Awards, also known as the Oscars, did not make the shortlist for the International Feature Film category. In October, the Nigeria Oscars Official Committee announced Mami Water as its IFF contender for the 96th Academy Awards. On Thursday, the Oscars announced the shortlist for the IFF category, but the Nigerian film written and directed by CJ Obasi failed to make the list. Two African films also made it to the next round: Tunisia's Four Daughters and Morocco's The Mother of All Lies. The 96th Oscars will take place on March 10th, 2024. Keke Palmer's ex-boyfriend, Darius Jackson, has filed a restraining order against her, alleging that the actress was physically and verbally abusive towards him for years. This comes months after Palmer accused Jackson of domestic violence and was granted a restraining order against him and full temporary custody of their 9-month-old son, Leodis. At the time, Palmer shared images with the judge to show that she was abused. In a recent development, Jackson claims that Palmer consistently became agitated during their relationship and was aggressive, especially after ingesting alcohol. He even added that she physically attacked him for years, alleging an instance where Palmer punched him back in 2021 and then apologized for it. And that's it on the entertainment segment of News Now. Okpeyemi Owosheni, TV360 News, Lagos.
In the realm of sport, former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has said that there is no future for him in sport should he fail to emerge victorious against Otto Wallin in Saudi Arabia this Saturday. The two-time world champion, who surrendered his WBA, IBF, WBO and IBO belt to Oksandar Usyk in 2021, is set to share the spotlight with ex-WC title holder Deontay Wilder on the same bill, with the potential for a future showdown if both triumph in Riyadh. Responding to inquiries about the challenge of focusing on Wallin amid the prospect of facing Wilder, Joshua responded during a Thursday press conference that his entire being is committed to the upcoming match. And that's all we can take on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I'm Tamilore Akinkolye. Bye for now.